Hey everyone, welcome to the KE Report, a special company update coming from Vizsla Silver. Chatting again with the president and CEO, Mike Konnert. We're following up on the news release from just yesterday, January 6th, the updated resource at the Panuco Project. The big takeaway from this resource, at least for me, is the upgrading of ounces, moving a lot more into the measured and indicated category. Vizsla is traded on the TSX under the symbol VZLA, also on the NYSE under that same symbol VZLA. Mike, let's talk about this updated resource. This is one of the near-term catalysts for the company. The stock reacted positively yesterday on the back of this news. Take us through, from a corporate level, your major takeaways from this upgraded resource, please.
Well, for us, it's just another step in the direction of production. So this is a huge step towards production because we now have a resource that we can use as the basis for a feasibility study, which we're expecting later in the year. And I'm kind of struck by how quickly we've been able to move this forward here. And this is a good example. So this is the fourth significant resource update for our project in basically 4 years post-discovery, which is really great to watch this unfold so quickly. And I don't think there's another place. I mean, there's very few other places in the world that you can have this type of rapid movement. Mexico is just such a great place to operate. So we're thrilled about that. And, this is a huge outcome. We've got a 43% increase in indicated and M&I ounces here. It really starts to look to me like the basis of a very meaningful, very high grade and high margin mine plan.
Now, grade also increased here when you upgraded some of these ounces. Talk to us about the grade component and also considering, look, this is driven a lot by gold and silver within the resource, a few other metals mixed in. You have a sensitivity table that shows just how much larger this resource can also get when you tinker with the grade. But talk to us about this grade component and now the slightly higher grade in the M&I category.
Well, typically what happens is, you have a vein or a resource or something like that, and, you're drilling into it and, you do maybe 100-meter spacing for inferred. And, you're taking a lot of guessing to come up with that inferred resource. And it's not really indicative of what's really underground. It shows what can possibly be underground. In this case here, we've gone to 25-meter centers, and the continuity has continued. It actually the grade has improved the closer these drill centers have been to each other. So that's an incredible outcome. It's something that you only see in tier one projects. So for us to have even a 4.5% increase in average grade overall at Copala, that grade percentage was higher. But to have, conversion from inferred into indicated and then indicated and inferred into measured, and then have the grade go up as well as the ounce count go up, I think that's an incredible outcome, and it's something that you only see in the best of projects. So it's not a surprise to us necessarily. We saw a number of just incredible high grade results coming out as we went into the last quarter of last year. And, this is just really the tally of those incredible drill results. And Copala just has continued to surprise us to the upside. The continuity, the thickness, the high grade, and the best part is, of course, that Copala is open in all directions. So we're thrilled about that. I think Copala is going to be the backbone of a very meaningful mining operation going forward.
All right, I want to talk about these different veins then, because there are a number of good tables that are within that news release, but the one that breaks down the resources by the different veins that you have drilled. Copala, obviously the major driver here. Also, Napoleon does carry its weight. But out of all these veins then, outside of Copala and Napoleon, where do you see some of the best future growth potential or any of these other veins that stand out to you for other reasons that we should be noting?
Well, one of our geologists, when I was down there at the tail end of the year at our Christmas party, he was the fellow that a number of years ago came up at a Christmas party and said, Mike, Copala is going to be the next big thing. And he came up to me and said, hey, remember when I was talking about Copala? Well, I'm going to claim it right now. La Luisa is going to be the next big thing for Vizsla. So, I I can't help but get excited about La Luisa. There could be a lot of potential there, but really, if you break down all of these sub areas, they all have a lot of upside. Tajitos, Copala, that's all really kind of part of that Copala vein swarm there. There's hanging wall veins as well at Copala. So Copala is really, it's not just one big thick vein, although Copala is one big thick vein. There's a number of other structures that intersect and run parallel to Copala. And I suspect that once we get underground here with this test mine, we're very close to the first blast. Once we're underground, trying to get into the mineralization with our drift there, we're going to start to see some new structures being discovered, I think personally. Now, at the Napoleon area, we have the hanging wall, we have La Luisa, Josephine, Cruz de Negra. We have a lot of interesting structures over there. But of course, with the focus on Copala, we haven't been putting tens of thousands of meters into drilling into that area outside of the actual Napoleon core area. So I think that, in districts like this, you kind of find the resource that you can, put the study around, that you can finance, you can start the mining operation. But when you're underground, you continue to find countless structures that have mineralization, that often have high grade mineralization. And I think Napoleon's going to be similar to that too. I think we're going to be making new discoveries for many years to come, many decades to come in the west here at Copala and Napoleon. But then also you zoom out, look at the district as a whole. And of course, we've got a 10,000 meter purely exploration drilling campaign going on right now too. So there's a potential for us to make new big discoveries throughout the district. There's a potential for us to make new big discoveries within this resource area, in blind areas between Napoleon and Copala. So, I look at this and I get so excited about the fact that, we're going to be able to continue to explore and find new veins and grow the veins that we know about, till the cows come home.
So, Mike, we will get into the test mining, but I guess more a question just on corporate strategy here. You're over 350 million ounces silver equivalent in all these categories. As I said, this resource update seems like it's very much focused on upgrading the confidence in these ounces. Are you going back more to a discovery focus this year with that 10,000 meter program to potentially truly increase the overall number of ounces?
Well, and just to maybe make a quick note to what you said there, in terms of gold, it's depending on whatever, what numbers you use. If you use a long-term consensus pricing, it's pretty darn close to 5 million ounces of gold equivalent at very high grade at just shy of 10 grams. So, this is it's a globally significant gold project if it was in gold equivalent terms. So we have something here that's substantial, that's huge already. And of course, it's on less than 10% of the known veins in the district that we have, the core district. And then we've added another 30,000 hectares across this area as well, too. So I suspect that we're going to be a huge resource going forward. And part of our job is to continue to make new discoveries and to find new centers of mass. And absolutely, we're looking to do that. I've always been convinced that this is a billion-ounce district like San Dimas or like Fresnillo or Zacatecas. Best part is that we control, the majority of it here, actually really all of it. We're the largest landowner in this area. So we really do have the ability to go out, make new discoveries, use good science, use low-cost tools to kind of hone in and zero in on new targets that we then follow up and drill. 10,000 meters is really just the beginning of that. Of course, we're very well funded. We're funded for a lot of the equity component of the CapEx going forward here. So we can certainly afford to spend money on exploration, discovery, drilling. That's what we're planning on doing in 2025. I'd be very shocked if 25 comes to an end and we haven't made a new major.
Okay. So still discovery focused in that sense, but let's also talk about test mining. It was more in the middle of last month in December that you announced that you started test mining and a bulk sample program, again, focused at this Copala area in the Copala vein. Give us an update on test mining. What news should we be watching out for as you continue on with this bulk sample and test mining?
Yeah, I was so excited to see that box cut start at the end of the year when I was just down there, and I've seen some picture updates today. And the shotcrete has started on the outside of the box cut there, and we've done a geotech hole. So it's moving very rapidly ahead. And the outcome is that this is really exciting. We're soon, very soon, to become a real mining company. We'll be underground in a matter of days or weeks. So news on that will be important. Eventually, we're going to be able to start taking people underground as that progresses and continues. We're expecting to do a site tour later this quarter. And so we'll start to see some photos out of that we can put in the presentation and in press releases. So I think what we'd like to do is make sure that the shareholders are getting a real up-to-date, as live as it can be, feed on how the test mine is going. So stay tuned. There's going to be a lot of great news out on that. But the purpose of the test mine is for us to get underground, de-risk this project further, and also have access to the mineralization at Copala so we can understand it, so we can reconcile it, and so we can basically feed all that information into the feasibility study so that we can permit, finance, and start construction here.
Will you be generating any sort of significant revenue from this test mining?
No, our goal isn't actually to generate revenue from the test mine. It's to stockpile the material come above surface, and eventually run through the mill that we'll construct ourselves, and that revenue will go directly to us. So that'll be important. A lot of times what people do is they'll take a quote unquote bulk sample and run it through some sort of third party mill and hope that they make $5 or $10 million or something like that to offset whatever cost it took for them to get underground. It's kind of like trading dollars. The value of this test mine is to de-risk the project, and also for us to de-risk the startup of the mill. So you have already mined material at surface that you can separate into various stockpiles of grade, and then that grade can run through the mill early and have rapid payback. That way you're not basically kind of bootstrapping the startup of an underground mine at the same time that you're starting up your mill. Inevitably, things are going to go wrong, or there's going to be issues at either the mine or the mill. It's better to separate them and not have two startups happening at the exact same time.
So, Mike, before I get you out of here, then just a quick update: how much cash is the company sitting on as we begin 2025, and outline some of the other key catalysts coming now that we have this updated resource behind us?
So we have north of 120 million Canadian, so very well funded. And that's going to take us through feasibility study, certainly through this test mine here, through that discovery drilling. All of those are funded. All those huge catalyst items are funded. Something else that we're working on in the background is the debt financing. So having the project finance squared away in 2025 is a goal for us as well. So I think 2025 is going to be a very transformative year, probably the most transformative outside of that initial discovery, when we basically turned hope and a prayer and a dream of making a high grade discovery at Panuco and paying off that option back in 2020 and 2021. That was obviously very transformative for us. But this is going to be the year that we really make that significant transformation from a purely exploration company into a company that is developing project number 1 in the West, and also exploring for project number 2 and number 3, et cetera, throughout the district. And best part, of course, is that we're very well financed for that.
All right, Mike, thank you, as always, for your time. Again, Mike Konnert, President and CEO of Vizsla Silver. Please, everyone, keep sending me your questions for Mike. I'll bring him back on the show as we get more news and to address all of your questions. Mike, thanks for the update.
Thank you very much, Corey. Happy New Year.